We've got a fun AFC South matchup here as Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans travel up to Indianapolis to play Anthony Richardson and the Colts. And this is going to be a grinded out type game.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you like just old like smash mouth football, this is going to be the game for you here because that is the main style of offense that Tennessee can really only play. And then on the flip side here, kind of with Anthony Richardson still developing, the passing game and everything, he led a great comeback last week against the Rams. Unfortunately, they fell just short, but they're still going to want to try and pound the ball and use their offensive line, whether it be Zach Moss, Jonathan Taylor's is reportedly coming back to practice this week if he's back.
Yeah.
That would be a nice kind of, okay, we forgive you if you come in and dominate the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
So I want to throw it over to you here. What are some of your thoughts on this game? What are your expectations for both teams to come and win?
So my expectations are all over the place. I mean, I think the Colts have been pretty consistent in competing with teams that we don't think that they'll compete with, whereas the Tennessee Titans have beaten teams that we don't think that they'll compete with, i.e. the Bengals. And then the week before, that was Houston? Or no, it was the Browns.
The Browns,
came in, and we thought it would be competitive, and they just absolutely got stomped. So that for me was a little bit surprising. So it really just depends on which version of the Tennessee Titans show up. I do think matchup-wise, it favors the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson and if Jonathan Taylor comes back, that's an elite running duo. This offensive line for Indianapolis is better. And this front seven has been lights out against the run so far this year. And if you're going to stop Derrick Henry, you need that front seven to not let him get going. And that's exactly what the Colts have been able to do so far this year.
Yeah. Well, it says one of the things that's very interesting is just that there's really only one way like the Titans can win games, it seems.
Yeah.
And that is just kind of grind it out. Defense got to show up. Their front seven's really got to show up. And they have to dominate the game. They have to get to the lead because they get behind. They're not able to throw the ball. They're in the bottom of the league in passing overall. And even offensively, let me just confirm this here. Just middle of the road and the running offense as well with only 444 rushing yards. Part of that is the Browns' defensive line dominated them, so they had a very poor rushing game from there. So maybe it's kind of an outlier. But in general, though, that's where they really struggle. While it's interesting, too, then on the flip side with the Colts, just their defense overall, it's giving up a lot of yards. They have the passing-wise, they have the fourth worst passing defense when it comes to yards allowed per game. Only 5 touchdowns, though. And then when it comes to rushing, they've given up they're 24th in the league with over 500 rushing yards allowed per game. So that's what – and that being said, then they've given up 6 touchdowns when running the ball. So I think you hit the nail on the head right before we started, and I want to give you the credit. This all depends on what Tennessee team shows up to the game today. And I think you're absolutely right here because I feel like Indianapolis kind of has that fire. They've played really well these past couple of weeks. And with an upset win over Baltimore, and then Anthony Richardson almost led this comeback against a good Los Angeles Rams team. It's just I think we know the kind of game they're going to play. They're going to try and limit the mistakes by Anthony Richardson, have a simpler game plan, so be run heavy, get some play action, get Richardson rolling out. But with the Titans, especially on the road, has just not been their forte offensively at all. And so that's what I think it's going to be tough for them just on the road, still learning. DeAndre Hopkins still learning that offense. Ryan Tannehill, I think, is just on the decline, the passing game. I don't think they're going to be able to exploit this Colts defense, which has been giving up a lot of passing yards.
Yeah. And that they've been giving up a lot of yards, but they've kind of adopted a bend, don't break strategy. And one of the things, too, is this Colts offense, I think, is continuously improving. Like what we kind of saw from week 1 to week 4, like they were definitely running more complicated schemes. They're slowly trusting Anthony Richardson with more and more. And he is a freak. I mean, just what he's able to do with the football is absolutely insane. So to kick it off with predictions here, I'm going to go with the Colts at home. I just think that they are able to get the job done. They've been really competitive in all of their games, and they've been able to adapt and be able to put points on the board, whereas I think the Tennessee Titans are struggling a little bit.
I think that's actually a good point too. Is just saying competing, and that's why I'm going to pick with the Colts. We've seen it now multiple times with Tennessee, where their offense is just not there at all, especially on the road, where they just can't get anything going. And the Colts do have a pretty solid defensive front with Nico Autry, Jeffrey Simmons. Sorry, that's Tennessee. Sorry. With DeForest Buckner, Sampson, Ebukam, thank you. and then Shaq Leonard as well. So as soon as I was saying like Denico Autry, I was like, oh, when did he go to Indianapolis? I'm like, oh, no, that makes sense. Hey, he is also a really good player, and Tennessee also has a good front. I think it's going to be definitely a low-scoring game, grinded out type game. I think it's going to be like a 17-16 type game, 17-14. It's going to come down to the last field goal.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a similar score. I'm going to say 20-16 is going to be the final score. So going to be a lot of field goals, I think. So anyways, let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this divisional matchup. Is it going to be the Tennessee Titans? Is it going to be the Indianapolis Colts? Let us know what you think. And on that, we will see you guys next time.